So one of the things students find most intimidating about writing papers isn't actually sitting down and writing the paper itself. It's losing points because they don't know how to do their APA formatting. In this video, we're going to talk about the basic skeleton structure I use every time I go to write a paper. Welcome back. My name's Jared. I am a nurse practitioner, a nurse educator, a learning coach. I've got 2 associate degrees, 2 bachelors, I think 5 masters now, and 1 doctorate degree. And what that means for you is I have written a lot of papers. I have done APA forwards, backwards. I was there when they transitioned to the latest edition and had to correct some of my teachers about how the formatting changed when I turned in some papers to say, hey, you're grading on the old edition and you told us we're using the new one. So in this video, I will show you what I do to make sure I get my APA style, at least with the paper, done right every single time. So here is the template kind of skeleton paper that I use whenever I have to write a paper in APA formatting. I put everything that I know I need for an APA paper in kind of a template. I save it as a blank paper. And then every time I have to write a paper for my course, I just go ahead and make a copy of this and fill in the information so that way I don't have to worry about formatting. So starting at the very top, I'm going to go into my heading and I'm going to insert a page number. So insert or go headers and footers, page number, top of page, top right hand corner. It defaults to the incorrect font. So I'm also going up to home. I'm making sure I am in font size 12 and Times New Roman. I check the second page because sometimes it defaults to being different than the first page. So just make sure that the Times New Roman and 12 font is also on in that one, and that it goes 1, 2, and 3. Looks good. We can move on. Now I'm coming down to my first line. I'm hitting enter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm writing my title in here. I'm going to make sure that we're centered. My title is going to be bolded, and the first letter of each word is going to be capitalized. So I'll have my title there. Hit enter twice. 1, 2. I'm going to enter my name on that following line. Hit enter again. And now I'm going to put my department or division, then a comma in my school name. So it's usually college like the College of Allied Health or College of Nursing or College of Business, comma, University of whatever. If you don't know exactly what that is, I pull that out of the syllabus because it's going to be written in there. Next up is our course code and course title. So the course code is what you registered when you went back and signed up for your course. So it's usually a combination of a couple letters and numbers. So if it were nursing, it's usually like NUR, NURS 1123 or something like that. The course title is whatever it is. So advanced practice, pharmacology, or patient assessment, or logical regression analysis, whatever your happens to be. Again, I pull that directly from the syllabus. Another one then is I pulled this directly from the syllabus as well. Doctor, professor, whatever they like to call themselves. Some of them have a whole bunch of letters. Some of them don't care. I just copy what it says in the syllabus because I assume that's what they like to be called because that's what they put when they made the syllabus, and I paste it right there. For your name, it's also important to note that you don't always have to put like all your professional credentials and stuff. It's just college. A lot of it's not always a requirement. Like sometimes it's kind of overdoing it and you're trying to like let your credentials speak for you instead of your paper speaking for you. I leave all of mine off. I've got a ton of them and I don't usually put them on anything anymore. But again, you can leave it as simple as your name, or if you want to put like a title or something, just keep it what you would have on your business card, and not excessive. I'd limit it to 2 if you're really going that route or felt like you had to. All right, back to this section. We're coming down and we're putting in our date when we put in here. So I put the date that I plan on submitting it, or the due date. Sometimes I just leave it date, but then just remember, if you leave it to just say date, sometimes you can overlook that. And then in your final submission, you forget to update that. I've had that happen once, but the teacher was extremely nice. And she's just like, hey, Jared, you forgot the date to change this to your actual date, and didn't dock any points or anything like that. But you won't always have those supportive instructors who are really like down to earth about things. Sometimes you'll have some that are just kind of like mad at the world. So just make sure that you update that before you finish. So I get done. I'm going to hit enter to come to my next line. Then I'm going to insert page break. And that's going to take me to my second page. So my second page depends on what paper it is. If it's a large research paper or like a capstone paper, like one of the end of the program papers, your second page is going to be your abstract and not like the bulk of your paper. So if it is an abstract page, I would just write abstract here, fill that out, hit enter, hit my page break to go to page 3. Um, mo- I've, I can say most papers I've ever written for college have not required an abstract. If you ever get confused, check your prompt for your assignment or just ask the teacher. But 99% of the time, I have not had to submit any type of abstract. Um, so if we needed one, that would be page 2. But since we don't need one, we're going to say for this one, we're going right to page 2 with the bulk of our paper. So this is where I kind of keep a skeleton ready. So I have all my headings and everything ready to go, so I don't have to look up or reference or go back and do anything like that. So my paper title is going to go at the start, centered, bolded, capitalized first letter of each word. Hit enter tab to go over that 1/2 inch indentation, and then I'm going to start my introduction text right there. So your title is going to be at the very top, introduction text here, and then we're going to go right into our level 1 headings. So the headings are where a lot of people get scared and confused and they're not sure what to do. What I do is first let's talk about what it looks like usually. Usually it's level 1 heading is going to be your big section. So if this was like a research paper, I'd have my level 1 heading be literature review, methods, findings or results, um, discussion, limitations, conclusions, like the big points. Everything else is then a sub point. So if it was just like I'm looking at like let's say down here I'm saying if I made a bulleted list and it would be topic point 1 sub point. So it's kind of like that. We're going to stay within whatever our larger level 1 heading is. We're not going to like elaborate on a bunch of craziness that doesn't go belong it. So it has to kind of fall under that topic in order for us to keep it there. All right, so level 1 headings are going to be centered, bolded, and capitalize the first letter of each word. I'm going to hit enter tab and start my text on the next line. Level 2s and 3s are pretty much the same, with only that one difference being the italicized for the level 3. So I'm going to make it left, align left, bold, capitalize the first letter of each word, enter, tab, start my text. If I'm going down to level 3, then again, align left, bold, capitalize the first letter of each word, but I'm also making it in italics. Enter, tab, start my text. 99% of the papers you write, you're only going to use 2s and possibly even 3s. Level 4s and 5s are a little bit different, but honestly, you're probably never going to need to use them. They're only for those big elaborate papers, so just know what they are. They exist. You may need to use them at some point, but for the most part, you're not going to be going this far. And I think that's what people get scared when they're like, is this a level 5 heading or a 4? It's like, no, you're sticking to 2s and 3s for the most of the stuff that you're going to do. So level 4 is going to be indented. So instead of being centered, I'm hitting my tab to get the indentation 1/2 inch over. I'm bolding it. I'm capitalizing the first letter of each word, but this one ends with a period. Then I'm going to hit a single space and I'm going to jump right into my text there. So the sentence of the content is going to go right immediately after that ends. Same thing with our next for level 5, indent it 1/2 inch. So align left, indent, bold it, italicize this time, capitalize the first letter of each word, end with a period, start your text right there. Again, you're probably not using 4s and 5s. I just keep it there in case I ever have to go that far and it's available to me. And then down at the bottom, every paper needs a conclusion, so I just make sure I have a placeholder for that. Again, centered, bold-faced, capitalize the C, text starts on the next line, enter, tab, get going there. Now, when I write a paper, I make a couple changes on there here before I even get to it. So I'm going to look at my rubric. I'm going to look at the big points that I need to address in my paper. And I'm making each of those big points a level 1 header. So when I go to write my paper, I know I need to address these 4 points or whatever happens to be in my rubric. It makes the teacher it gives the teacher a little bit of an easier time to grade your paper. And if they have an easier time grading, it's usually a better grade because they don't have to go looking to see like, did this person really address the alignment of left and right shock distributions or whatever the hell it is. So just make sure. I like using that style because it makes life easier on a little about everybody, but you don't have to. I like doing it that way because it makes it easy on me. I have a couple of just notes down here, so I'm making sure everything's double spaced, 12 size 12 font, Times New Roman, and I'm only adding 1 space between sentences. There was an old, the 6th edition, I think it was, you had to put 2 spaces between your sentences, but they got rid of that because they realized how dumb it was. Same thing up here in your numbers. They used to make you say like running head and make it different on the second page, but they also realized how dumb that was and got rid of it finally. So the only thing I'm going to do then is I'm also going to hit Control A to make sure everything's highlighted, make sure my fonts are selected. I'm coming into paragraph. I'm pulling out my call tab. I'm making sure this is checked. I have zeros before, zero after, double. Okay, there. My whole paper is double spaced, the correct font. I don't have to worry about messing up anything or losing points there. Now, after this, I hit an enter, and I'm going to go to insert page break again, because if I hit enter, sometimes it screws up the formatting of the whole paper. So I'm going down to my next page, which is references, which is just references with a capital R, centered, not bolded. And then the formatting of our reference list goes down here. And the thing I like to do is if I have a textbook for the course, I just leave that right on there because I probably am going to reference it when I go to do my writing. Usually you have to use some outside references too because they want you looking for some actual information, but I just like to leave that there. Only thing again to remember is if it is not used in the body of your paper, it can't be on your list. So you have to make sure you use it or I guess lose it because it can't be on the list at that point. Now, the only other things that you may need in your paper would be your appendixes, tables, figures. But I'm going to tell you now, 99% of the papers I've ever written have never needed any of that information. It's usually not a requirement or anything like that. And I think it ends up getting so complicated the teachers don't even know how to really grade it because they don't see it. I've only had to use it for like capstone projects, end of entire program papers. So maybe for that one paper, and then you just look up how to do that later and you'll be fine. But if you needed it, you just hit enter to go on your next line, page break, appendix, however it's supposed to be formatted, and then tables, whatever you happen to need after that. But yeah, when I need to write a paper for my course, I pull out my blank one, I save as, so I get a new copy of it. I update all this information here with what it needs to be for this specific class, and I save that in my folder with the rest of my documents for that course. That way I'm organized and I know I can find everything when I do need it. And I put my textbook down here just because I'll probably need it for that course. But all right, so that is the basic template of the APA paper, the title page, the formatting of your headers, and I will work on trying to figure out how to get a link to this in the description. So if you would like to use this, I can make it available for you. So I'll spend the rest of the next couple of days trying to figure that out. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some good takeaways. Again, if you like this, give me a like, subscribe, give me some comments about what else you get confused about APA, because I've got a lot of experience with APA. I learned by trial and error most of the time, and I don't want you to have to go through that as well and lose silly points because you miss some type of silly thing on your paper. Also, I'm a learning coach. If you want to work with me, we'll get some links set up for that. And if you would like to get my book about learning faster and more efficiently with AI, it's also in the description. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you in the next one.